Brings us to item 13, 2010-11 water rates.
Thank you,
David.
Mayor. I was going to have Bruce Young. He drew the short straw, so he gets to make the presentation tonight.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll try to make this brief also. I know that this is a subject that we've all discussed very in depth, and I believe that we've met with most of you and talked about this item, which is basically kind of an informational item for Council. As part of the Proposition 218 process, City staff brought back to Council on the September 21st Council meeting proposed new water rates. These rates were developed with staff working with the Utility Rate Committee, looking at various things that drove the needed increases. During that process, fairly lengthy, several things were changed as it related to capital projects. We have a pay-as-you-go project funding that was also reduced. At the council meeting on the 21st, council was still not comfortable with the rates as they existed and directed staff to take another look at the rates. We have indeed done that. There are several things that drive these rates, and I think you guys know that one of the biggest ones is the cost of wholesale water, as Humboldt Bay charges us for this due to the closure of the mills. It also includes some capital projects that Humboldt Bay believes that they need in the 5-year term.
About it, and many questions come up. One was that the direction of the council was for you to bring back a menu of choices for us to pick from, but this appears to be sort of just one choice with a few little variables. You've combined water and sewer together, which seems to really sort of confuse the picture of the water rates. So I'm curious as to why you haven't offered us, and forgive me for, I know you've answered this question to me in private meetings, but I would like to get this out there because this is the question I'm being asked by the public. Why we're not looking at a different base rate, base charges?
Well, as we develop these rates, we, of course, were under the 218 process, which we believe requires this fair and equitable rate. The question of the base rate is one that, of course, obviously we've gone back and forth with. The rate committee looked at that. We chose, and I believe correctly, to create the base rate on what we would call fixed costs, costs that are in place no matter how much water we use.
Under this scenario, doesn't it, I mean, at least the way it read to me and some of the folks I showed it to, it seems that the small users are now going to be subsidizing the big users, you know, by placing all the costs in the fixed costs.
Well, you also brought up a point about combining the water and wastewater rates together. That was something that was also talked about a great deal in the rate committee, and felt that it was absolutely important that we included them together. So what we do find with this is that the low water users receive relief on the wastewater side.
Any other questions for Bruce before we open it up for public comment? All right, thank you, Bruce. Don't go too far. And is there anyone here who came to comment on this item? And Nick?
Nicholas Bravo. I would ask that the city, for the moment, table this agreement, and simply because I want to know how much the city is spending on chemicals to put in the water. For example, fluoride. I have information from a very good source who actually works in the water plant, the treatment plant, basically saying that the fluoride is shipped in big bags which have the skull-and-crossbones on it, clearly marked poison. They have to don hazmat suits to actually pour the fluoride into the water. fluoride has been proven to cause horrible health effects for human beings and animals. Fluoride has been proven to cause mental retardation in young children. It has been shown to build up in the body and actually cause nerve disorders and other problems with the body. Now, I plan to eventually do a more lengthy expose on public access in which I will delve into the issue, but I would really like to know why the city of Eureka and Humboldt County is continuing to spend money to put a toxic substance into the water that in reality is costing the county and the city more money than it saves. Because the more fluoride in the water, the more health problems, the more crime, etc. So, and I know some of you might be saying, this is all conspiracy. Well, I will do an expose and put it on public access to delve more into this issue, because my big concern is I've studied the effects of fluoride on human beings, and despite the FDA saying that it's okay, it's really not, and people need to be made aware of what is actually going into the water. I myself, I can afford, a water filter or bottled water. There's a lot of people who simply are forced to drink tap water, and if we're poisoning them, that's a real problem ethically and financially. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.